minasan! Welcome back for another round of One Piece. Last episode, last show, last set of chapters. The stage has been set. Luffy and the crew arrived at Alabasta. They shopped at the bazaar, got some disguises. They met one. They met one of the Baroque Works top dogs, number 3, and found out what he's capable of doing. And Zolo chose a smart move, and that was to have everyone wear a special little little bandana kind of thing on the arm, an armband of sorts, so that they could be able to tell apart from each other if should number 3 pull off his little trick on them and disguise himself as them thanks to the power of his change fruit. Which is a very cool, interesting power. On top of that, Smoker and the Navy have arrived as well, and they're chasing down Luffy. We got to meet Luffy's brother, Ace, who himself is also on the hunt for one of his crewmates, because his crewmates decided to commit murder. He betrayed the Jedi Council. He betrayed everybody, and so Ace is out to get rid of him. We got to see his flame fruit, which is very devastating because it completely and totally destroyed a whole bunch of ships that was hunting him down. Oh man, since he was a pirate. So yeah. Oh no, wait, sorry. They were chasing Luffy, and Ace was able to stop them because Ace is the big brother of Luffy, of the D family. So now it's been established that anyone who has the letter D in the middle of their name is part of the D family. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I would love to see, Gold D Roger is truly related to Ace and Luffy, because that would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right. So now the Luffy and the team is heading off into the desert to find the rebels, so they can make their move to free Alabasta once and for all. And Karu, of course, is heading off to send a message to the king, Vivi's father, letting them know what's going on and what to prepare for. So there we go. Alright, so, now that we caught up, let's not waste the time and let's get reading. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, Chapter 161, The Green City Aramaru. Oh, that's so cool. Because a giant turtle, a tortoise, if you will, is pushing along a giant carriage, a 3-wheeled carriage, with a giant gator with sunglasses on top. The tortoise had a harness attached and a cowboy hat and was simply smoking a big cigar. And it took a long, hard puff of it and said, "Gronk, gronk," as he took each step at very high speed, apparently. No, his name is Bunchi, the special all-terrain transport turtle from Baroque Works. Transporting all the top leaders of Baroque Works as they head to their destination in the night and the full moonlight. They should be. Let's see. They should be heading for Rain Base about now, number 3 said. Oh, sorry, not number 3. Number 2 said. Bunchi should get them here by morning. As he continued to, without a care in the world, thump and thud his way across the desert. Inside, Mr. Two continued talking. "I never dreamed that you were Miss Doublefinger, Pola." To which Pola replied, "Huh. Okay.
I never said I wasn't.
Have the." Meanwhile, back at Mr. Zero's lair, he asked Miss All Sunday, "Ugh, have the billions in Nanohana been notified?"
Our usual messengers. The unluckies never came back.
Miss All Sunday replied, So I dispatched
us upstairs.
she said, as the giant banana gator looked in her direction.
The lizard on us.
She said, as the as the lizard runners, who were an urgent delivery force for Baroque works, started trampling across the desert on their hind feet and their flappy necks stretched out, going e e e e e e e e e e e e e e e e. And they continue to leave behind dozens upon dozens of footprints, and as they make their way through the desert. I see. Good work, Mr. Zero said. And that same afternoon, Luffy, dressed in desert clothes to protect himself from the heat, looked out at the horizon with his hand up and a big smile on his face. Dude, we're here. It's Yuba. However, he was actually inside the town already and is scanning the horizon for no reason, as the deserted town laughed back at him. Well, dude, it's a ghost town. Let's get the Mythbusters out here, see if there's really apparitions. Then he turned back and he saw the merry-go docked along the shoreline of the desert with the river, as everybody disembarked and prepared to gather up the supplies. Okay, now to find that rebel leader, Luffy said, as the princess replied back.
We haven't reached Yuba yet, Luffy. It's still half a day away to the northwest.
To which, is that Usopp? Yeah. To which Usopp screamed, "Half a day!"
Look at the map.
She pointed at the current location of Arumalu.
We just sailed up the Great Sandora River and landed here. This is the green city of Arumalu.
She said. Green city doesn't look very green. Luffy's face was in disgust.
It used to be,
Phoebe said. Oh! Usopp screamed as he saw a giant turtle emerge from the sand. What's that? A turtle? Arf. Or a sealy or something? What is it? Ah!
Oh, that's a Kung Fu Jugon.
Everybody going kung fu fighting, the little bugger said, as Usopp pointed out, and he's dancing around doing his kung fu poses. Kung fu?
Yeah, don't go near it, Usopp.
And it was too late, as as the kung fu Jugon delivered his punch.
It's dangerous.
Unfortunately, Usopp laid on the ground, bloodied up and bludgeoned. It's going, oh, and the Jugon screamed out, "Who's the greatest?" And to which the crowd screamed out, "Sure enough." And Solo crossed his arms in disgust. You let that thing beat you? Weak. And Luffy, oh man, and Luffy hurried over and beat up the Jugon. And screamed in the air, "Yeah, dude."
Luffy beat it.
Nami pointed out.
No, Luffy!
BB screamed,
"It's the code of the Kung Fu Jugon to become the apprentice of anyone who defeats it."
And the Jugon got up and says, "You are the greatest, sure enough." And he bowed. Huh. Solo said, "A disciple of the martial arts, eh? I am quite intrigued." And suddenly, more Jugons showed up and began training Luffy. "Oh, this is the stance you want, little dudes?"
More apprentices!
BB screamed out as all the Jugons started posing, started practicing with Luffy. And the master, and Luffy's master, waved a handkerchief away as he gnawed on a piece of meat that they gave him in return. Tears, sad that his apprentice is moving along. You are the greatest, Luffy! All of them screamed out as Luffy started started practicing his punches. Okay, dudes, on to Yuba. He smiled as Sanji looked at him. Good job, Luffy! There goes half our rations! He pointed as he watched the Jugon eat the food.
If it weren't for Chopper, we would have been in big trouble.
Oh, sorry, that's Nami? Yeah, Nami's in the white shawl.
If it wasn't for Chopper, we wouldn't be in big trouble.
They insisted on following you. I had to bribe them without a food. We would have been given away to the location, he pointed out. Well, we should have left. Don't let them come with us, dudes.
No time in the world would let all those things in. Idiot.
And those Jugon shore are strange, Diddy. Do they live in the river?
No, the sea, actually. Long ago, the Sandora River nourished this land.
She said as an image showed the river and the sea meeting each other.
But in recent years, it's lost much of its force. It is being overcome by the sea.
Then the water where we found all those Jugons?
That's seawater. You can't drink it or water crops with it.
So is that what made the city dry up? Zolo asked.
No, there used to be enough rainfall to sustain the city. Until recently, Rumalu was green and full of life.
Green, huh?
However, in the last 3 years, not a drop of rain has fallen in this entire region.
She explained as Luffy smiled, picking up the skull of one of the dead residents. And Chopper freaked out at Luffy's nonchalant nature. He hurried over to Vivi and said, but that portal looked okay.
Nanohana gets its water from the neighboring oasis of Katorea. Throughout its long history, Alabasta never suffered from drought until recently. But one place got plenty of rain, Alabama, the capital, where the king's palace is. The people call it the king's miracle until the day of the incident.
And we flash back to 2 years ago at Nanohana, where a ship was docked at the port. Cargo's being offloaded, as screamed out by one of the sailors. Offload the cargo! And they began pushing and pulling a cart with two gigantic sacks, while the wheels struggled to hold up its strength. It cracked and started to topple over. Look out! It's gonna fall! Get out of the way! The crowd screamed out, and all the grain spilled over. Is everybody alright? You beady hit? This is terrible. We dropped it. We're supposed to deliver to the king of Alabama. What is it? Green powder. What is it? I don't know. It's just green. Damn it. The king ordered it. We were just making a delivery. Run! We don't want to die. To which then one of the citizens lifted up the grain, lifted up the powder, and realized what it is. This is dance powder.
What?
Dance powder?
Yes. So?
Dude, is that some kind of like DDR thing?
What?
DDR, DDR, you had never played DDR?
No.
So what's that then?
They call it the powder that summons rain.
Summons rain?
Yeah, it was developed by a scientist in a country where it never rains.
Then she continued explaining as they walked through the entire deserted village. The
powder turns into a mist and rises up to the sky, where it triggers ice particles to grow in the clouds and fall as rain. Dance powder creates artificial rain.
Dude, a mysterious powder that makes rain? Zolo finished his sentence. Hey! Usopp said, that's just what this kingdom needs.
Well, at first, people rejoiced in the land where dance powder was invented, but then they discovered a terrible side effect. The country's upwind suffered the dry crust. Get it? Yeah. The artificial rain stored the moisture, even the smallest of clouds. Oh, I get it. It steals the rain that would normally fall on surrounding lands. That's right.
Nami continued.
And when the neighboring countries realized that was happening, they attacked them, many lives were lost. And after that,
Vivi cut in.
the world government banned the production and use of dance powder worldwide. So this stuff caused happiness and misfortune at the same time. Oh. When that huge load of dance powder got dumped, it was a time when not a drop of rain fell anywhere, except upon the city where the king lived.
And it's only natural that people would suspect that the king had used the powder to take all the rain for himself. Hey, it's your fault. It's all your father's fault, Vivi, dude. He was frame, you idiot! Sanji immediately kicked Luffy in the head as he pointed at, as the captain pointed at Vivi. Vivi's father would never do something so evil. And Vivi let out a sigh.
I know now that it was all part of Crocodile's scheme. The king had no idea,
she said as she knelt down before one of the citizens' skull and fixed it up.
But a huge quantity of dance powder had been placed inside the palace too.
And as she planted her forehead on the skull's forehead, holding back her tears, she continued.
It was a trap set by Crocodile, and just as he planned, drought ravaged the land, and the anger of the people increased with their hunger. Ultimately, a rebellion broke out.
She looked up at the gallows where the noose was hanging, lissily through the wind.
The people lost faith in the royal family, and the peace of the land was shattered. Many towns and people too were lost. And who was responsible for all this misery? Crocodile. He was behind it all.
Sanji, Luffy, and Usopp held back their tears as Vivi completely started screaming in anger.
I will never forgive that man.
And as she slowly stood to her feet, there was plumes of sand kicking up in the distance to the sound of a rumble. Stupid kids, Solo said. And they watched as the entire town began to crumble, as part of the town started to crumble into the sand below. Luffy and the crew started walking towards that. And as they did, the whole entire town fell into the desert. Part of the town started falling into the desert, and Vivi just looked back in frustration and anger.
Heck, what are you doing?
And Luffy, with his fist clenched and cracking his left shoulder, his reply was simple enough. Let's get moving, dudes. I'm itching for some violence. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, Chapter 162, Adventure in the Kingdom of Sand. Luffy said with his tongue stuck out and the desert heat beating down on him and the sun sheening its hot aridness onto everybody.
Stop gasping, Luffy,
Nami said.
You're making me tired.
Dude, I'm so hot. I'm out of sweat, too. I'm all dry as a bone. Am I gonna shrivel up like I do in the water? Chopper, who's being towed by Vivi, being towed by Zolo, said, I can't go on. I can't take the hit. I'm adapted to the cold. All of my fur.
Of course it's your fur,
Usopp said as he used his cane, his own cane, to keep him propped up.
Why don't you take it off?
I'm a land, you idiot. he screamed out as he transformed into a giant human and scared Usopp. Ah, a monster! Solo looked back in anger. Chopper, if you get big, I'm not pulling you. Sanji took a long puff of his cigarette and looked in Phoebe's direction. The heat doesn't seem to be getting to you as badly, BD.
This is my home. I'm used to the heat.
But what? Dude, but why there's so many... Oh, wait, who's that? Oh, okay. But why are there so many dunes? It's like mountain climbing. They said as they started going up the largest largest dune they've ever met.
This is an ancient desert. The biggest dunes are over 1,000 feet high.
1,000 feet? That is a mountain. Water, dude.
Oh, just take a sip. Just a sip, Luffy. Just enough to wet your lips.
Yeah. And he... and Luffy inhaled the water and his cheeks expanded. And Usopp came right from behind and slapped him upside the head while Nami punched him in the back of the head. Just enough to wet your lips!
Ah, I want some too. That was 13 cups just now. No way, you just had a drink. It's my turn.
Vivi screamed out, pointing at everybody. And suddenly, Nami, Luffy, and Usopp ended up in a plume of dust beating each other up. Hey, you made me spit it all out, dude. That didn't count.
Oh, why you... Stop fighting. You're wasting energy.
She screamed out. Vivi screamed out as the trio continued fighting. Oh, man. Moments later, Luffy, with his tongue sticking out and panting like a dog, pointed over at Sanji. Hey, Sanji, dude, let's eat your pirate box lunches. Not until Baby says we can. Baby, let's eat. I need energy to keep walking. Usopp says he struggled to walk through the desert with the cane in hand.
But we're only a fourth of the way to Yuba,
she pointed out. Haven't you heard the old saying, dude? When you get hungry, you should eat. You just made that up, you liar, said the liar.
When we get to the next crags, we'll stop and rest.
Okay, the next crags. What's a crag? Oh. And the desert suddenly started chanting, just like Frank Herbert's Dune. Heavy, dude. Heavy and hot, Luffy said as he dragged the supplies across the desert. He fell behind everybody as everyone was very far ahead, and Solo still had Chopper in tow. Nami looked back and shrugged her shoulders.
Ah, you lost at like a rock, paper, and scissors, so shut up and pull.
To which Sanji replied, "Don't drop anything, Luffy." Oh, dude. And Usopp screamed out, "Yes, Crags, dead ahead!" he said as he saw as he scouted ahead of everybody. Really, dude? And suddenly, Luffy had all the strength to run straight for the Crags. It's break time! Look at him go! Usopp screamed out. In the Crags, Luffy immediately stopped and started taking a deep breath. Dude. Ah, the shade, he said as he sat in the shadow. Feels so good not feeling the sun. Huh? And he noticed something. Dead birds, long neck cranes, just laying down there going, "Quack, quack." And Luffy immediately ran back. This is bad, dude.
What? He's coming back?
Phoebe said. There are birds dying all over the place. You gotta help him, Chopper. Okay.
Birds? Luffy, stop! Those birds are fakers!
She screamed out. And as soon as they returned, and as soon as they had, as soon as he brought them over,
our supplies! Oh, they got us.
But they were dying, dude. And she looked over at Luffy and explained,
those are the evil herons. They're desert pirates that trick travelers and steal their supplies. I should have warned you about them.
oh! Well, Usopp screamed out, birds pretend to be dying. They're con artists.
Yes, and good ones too.
Sanji immediately grabbed Luffy by the shoulders and screamed out at him, that was 3 days worth of supplies, Luffy. They were your responsibility. We're in the middle of the desert. They even took our personal belongings. We have no food, no water. How are we going to survive out here now? I can't help it, dude. I was tricked. You let yourself be outsmarted by birds. And Zolo looked at the two of them and screamed out, shut up. Cut it out, you two. And he sat down. He sat down in frustration as Usopp plopped himself onto the desert floor. Rest a while. The heat's getting to you. Just cool down. We'll be in Yuba tonight.
Right.
Vivi agreed, concurred.
There's water at Yuba. We just have to hang on until we get there. We can make it.
Forget what happened. Thinking about it will just make you thirstier, Solo said. We'll rest for 10 minutes and then go on. Meanwhile, the evil heron, an evil heron stood with holding the barrel up and sipping through the straw, going glek glek glek. Ah, dude, it's the thieves! He screamed out as he watched them messing around with the supplies. It's them! And Luffy began running right at them. Give us our stuff back, thieves! To which the birds taunted him. Grrrr! Nami immediately screamed out,
Ah, Luffy, don't go after them. You'll get lost. She's right, Luffy.
Vivi concurred.
Come back.
And they watched as he disappeared in the desert with the heron. That idiot! Sanji said. Meanwhile, Luffy is running at fast track speed. Grah! And he heard something in the distance. What's that, dude? Oh my gosh. Nami, everyone saw what was happening, and Nami screamed out,
Oh, there's something chasing them. It's the giant Sandora dragon.
It was a giant Helix monster, a big lizard, probably a monitor, with sharp, jagged teeth coming right at it. It's huge! She screamed out, and Sanji noticed something running right alongside Luffy at high speed. What's that running beside him? A camel! And Solo immediately unsheathed his sword. Jeez, what star was he born under? That idiot's a magnet for trouble. You. Gun. Luffy said as he turned around and pulled his and curled and whined his fist back. Dragon. Solo said as he unsheathed his sword and winded it up. Ippolit! Sanji lifted his whole foot back and winded up, and together they unleashed their attacks. Twister! Whoa! Sprawl! And they all connected. Luffy, Sanji with the kick on, with the heel kick to the face. Luffy with the long kick to the side of the cheek, and Solo with a sweeping slash across the neck, making blood spill out. Vivi, Nami, and Zolo looked out in horror, as did the camel, as they when they watched the entire desert dragon collapse before them. Its legs twitched a little bit, its tail flopped and landed onto the desert ground. And as each of them landed and sheathed their sword, the dragon lay dead and stayed dead. Couldn't they have just scared it off? Usopp said.
Ah, against those three at once? That poor monster never had a chance.
Sanji, dude, can we eat this thing? I think so. What luck. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Hey, look, dudes, these hot rocks are a natural grill. Luffy started grilling. Watched Sanji grilled a big marbled steak on the on the rock, and Zolo looked out at the camel. So, what's its story? He said, but with his arms crossed, sitting on another rock. I don't know, dude. I was chasing those birds, but they flew away, and I saw this guy running from the dragon, so I ran too. Hmm. It's not. It's not wild. It's got a saddle. Let's ride him, dude. What a relief that'll be. Great. There's room for two. Hmm. You need a camel. You need a. Oh. Hmm. You need a camel in the desert. Well, I guess I'll right. And suddenly and just as Luffy planted his foot on the harness to saddle up, the camel immediately bit him on the head and went chomp 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 chomp. Ouch! Hey, camel dude. He got off as the camel started growling, and Chopper stood by and translated. He says he was just a passing through. He thanks you for saving him. He's willing to give rides, but only to the women. But and all the men ganged up on the camel and started beating him up. That's ungrateful. Do you think saved your life, camel? And as the camel stood there with bruises on its face, Nami approached it.
Ah, were those pirates mean to you?
She said, caressing its chin, and hearts for eyes took over the camel.
You're a good boy. Well, that's your name.
Usopp, Sanji, and Luffy screamed out, "I know!" And they each gave him a name. Idiot, Mora, jerk. And Nami continuing to caress the camel, says,
Ah, I know. I'll call you eyelashes.
To which Solo said, that's the weirdest one yet.
David, hop on. That's okay. I can walk. Come on. It's not every day you get to ride a camel.
No fair. Yeah, no fair.
Ah, maybe we'll reach you but a little faster now.
And and with Phoebe on board, she snapped the harness.
Go eyelashes.
And all the men screamed out, "Hey, wait!" as eyelashes was now much further away from from all the men. She screamed out,
Come on, you guys, hurry. If you fall behind, you'll never get out of the desert alive.
as the sun continued beating down on everybody, and Nami screamed out, "I still love you, Nami!" To which Nami replied,
Got it out.
Meanwhile, Luffy went into a spiral manic attack, screaming, "Tidal wave, dude!" Huh? Solo said, looking at the captain flailing his arms and stomping his feet on the sand.
What's wrong, Luffy? No wood. Maybe that thing didn't agree with him,
he said.
What thing? I tried to stop him, but he ate some cactus along with the dragon meat.
Oh, dang. Luffy continued flailing about on the desert floor. I'm drowning, dudes. To which Zolo replied, "Cactus? Like this one?" The Chopper pointed out.
Yeah, what's wrong like that?
That's a bad, Chopper screamed out. Those are crazy cactuses. He must be seeing the things. What? That's it, dudes. I'm gonna blow you all away. Luffy started winding up his attack. Went gum gum, and Chopper suddenly stuck a needle on his butt, and Luffy immediately collapsed and fell asleep with a loud snore. Snore, dude, snore. It's a sedative. He raised the syringe up in the air. That was quick thinking, Chopper. Sanji gave a thumbs up in appreciation. Meanwhile, Usopp pointed out in the distance as the camel was starting to disappear into the horizon. Look, that stupid camel's way ahead of us. To which Zolo started preparing to run. Catch up with them. Hurry! And hurry they did as the sun began punching down on all the men, and they were sweating up a storm. Zolo dragging Luffy along. Usopp struggling. Usopp struggling to. Sorry, it's the next panel. Struggling to not collapse. A giant toad appeared out of nowhere and started attacking the men. They continue looking out in the distance with Luffy being dragged along. And the women stood waiting for them, watching through binoculars. Luffy slowly yawned and opened his eyes, and all the men started stomping on him and beating him up for that. No free rides for Luffy. The sun started setting and cast a shadow from their bodies as all of them started making their way over more dunes. And the moon rose high into the sky with the stars shining out at night.
It's night already.
It's so hot here by day. It's so cold at night.
Oh, it could get below freezing in the desert at night.
Did he notice? That's you, below freezing, dude. And that's when Vivi pointed it out. Pointed out at the distance.
Over there. Is that a light?
Is it Yuba? Sanji asked. There's so much sand in the air, I can't tell. Luffy tried to scan the horizon as everybody struggled to figure out what they were looking at. And suddenly the ground started rumbling underneath their feet. Hey, the ground's shaking, dudes.
Something's wrong,
Vivi pointed out. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. Chapter 163. Yuba, the Town of Rebels. Vivi screamed out, Sandstorm! And everybody looked in horror as they heard a familiar sound. And as the song continued on, they watched the entire town be consumed by the sandstorm. Yuba's being hit by a sandstorm! As the song continued, like... And then it stopped. Yuba Oasis, Alabasta.
No.
This is terrible. It's as bad as Aramula.
Aramalo.
That's what I said. Dude, where's the water? Luffy scanned the town trying to find something to drink, and Sanji took a long puff of his smoke. This is an oasis, baby!
The sand is accumulating. The desert is swallowing Yuba.
Got here a citizen that was shoveling up the desert sand. You must be you must be travelers. No, travelers. There we go. All right, that's fine. Travelers, you must be exhausted from your journey. The mustached man said as he continued shoveling up. I'm sorry, but you was all dried up. The crew looked at him as he was trying to undig the entire town. But stop here and rest. The city has many inns. We're famous for hospitality. Toto, citizen of Yuba, smiled away as he greeted Luffy and the crew. and continued shoveling the desert sand. Vivi immediately covered her face so as to not be noticed by anybody, and that's when she asked.
We heard that the rebels were here.
To which Toto looked back with with glowering eyes. We're dealing with the rebels, and immediately started throwing things at them, at her as well. You don't want to join them, do you?
Hey, what are you doing?
Those fools, Toto said, have left Yuba. And everybody screamed out,
What? There can't be.
This wasn't the first sandstorm to hit Yuba, Toto said as he continued shoveling the sand. 3 years ago, the land began to dry and the sands began to blow. The desert is at war with Yuba, and little by little, the oasis is losing ground. And as his hole got bigger and bigger, he continued on. When the city ran out of water, the rebels abandoned it. Katoeya is their base now.
Katoeya?
Dude, where's that? Is it close by?
It's an oasis near Nanohana.
Nanohana! Everybody screamed out in horror.
Oh, what? We came all this way for nothing.
Vivi, Toto said. Did you just say Vivi? Wait, dude, Vivi's not a princess or anything. She's just some random girl. And immediately, Zolo and Sanji punched him upside the head. Shut up! Is it really you, princess? Are you the Princess Vivi?
Huh?
And Toto immediately clutched her shoulders. You're alive. Thank goodness. But you don't recognize me?
Well, I guess I have lost a little weight.
Oh. Well, I guess I have lost a little weight.
Ah.
Vivi gasped and realized who it was, and her eyes grew wide.
Oh, Toto.
That's right. His tears started welling up as he let out a smile, and she covered her face.
No.
Oh, Toto. You mean the dog from the Wizard of Oz? And Sanji slapped him upside the head for that remark. And as tears fell down his face, he let out tears of joy. Princess, I still believe in the king. He will never betray his people. Would he? This rebellion is idiocy, those blasted rebels. Please. He dropped down onto his knees before the princess. You must stop them. And she covered her mouth again, trying to hold back her tears. Only you can save us now. To which she remembered from 11 years ago.
Toto.
And she heard her father's voice. Who did I give the king's voice to? Oh, here we go. Did I give the king a voice? No, huh? All right. Vivi, you must become a great princess. All right. I'll just call it pseudo Java. Alabarna, 11 years ago, a little kid showed up. His name was Koza, village boy. The village is all dried up. Why didn't you save us? Weather is controlled by the gods. Not even the king has power over it. But Papa says the king could do anything. My commands only work on the people. Your Majesty, there's a man who claims to be this boy's father. And there was a very young Toto, very round. Wow, that's why you say Slot Skinner. Very round and rotund, with a bushy mustache, uh, and a necklace, a necklace charm. Your Majesty, forgive my worthless son's impudence. It was all my fault. Punish me, not him, please. He immediately dropped on his knees and was ready to take a head chop. He immediately pulled his son down and to the floor and punched him on the head, making him bow to him. You fool, you fool, you fool. Your name is Toto. Yes, sir. The crown will provide relief for your village during this time of drought. You may remain in Alabama while you ponder your future. Such benevolence! He immediately planted his face right into the floor and pushed his son's face in as well, to the sound of a whoomp. Thank you, Your Majesty. Thank you. You have no idea what it's like for us villagers, he screamed out. To which his father screamed, Closer, shut up. And the kid ran off. Wait! Toto, the king said. Yes, Your Majesty. What a fine boy. He would defy even the king for his people. He stormed in here for the sake of his fellow villagers. Phoebe watched on, was leaning on the wall with a baby Kato. Oh, Kato was so cute. She had Kato since a kid. And as he ran by, she said, You cry, baby. And he stopped. Will you peep squeak? And they began to talk to each other. What's this? What's going on here? Oh, okay. Your Majesty. Yes, Igaram. Forgive me, but this kingdom doesn't have the resources. Igaram said, his advisor to the king said, and informed him of the unfortunate news. It's not enough to compensate those villagers. To which the king slapped him upside the head. Don't be absurd. We reduce our own living expenses and make a few adjustments. We can easily raise the money. And with the bruise on his forehead, Igaram smiled. As you wish. Oh my gosh. Your Majesty! A guard screamed out, It's Princess Phoebe! She stood there with a bloody nose and bruises on her face, clothes scuffled, and a piece of a wad of paper plugging up her bloody nose. She looked away with an angered look. I got in the fight and I lost. She sniffed. Phoebe, Princess Phoebe! Igaram screamed out, How dare that brat lay a hand on the princess? I'll crush him. Igaram, wait. Forgive him. Toto immediately pulls out a knife and was ready to commit seppuku. Kill me, but spare my son. And the king slapped the two of them upside the head, and they fell on the ground with lumps on their noggins. Quiet, both of you. Oh, it was only a fight between children. It is perfectly normal. Alabama, capital of Alamasta. The whole city was bustling with people, performers, travelers, families, business, and the crowd was rallying around a particular area as someone screamed out, "It's a fight to the death!" on the outskirts of the city. Don't crazy her just because she's a princess, Coqui-san. You'll teach her a lesson. The men screamed out. And the girl's like, Get him, Phoebe! Hey, Coqui-san's our chief, one of the boys said. And Phoebe's cool. Phoebe cracked her knuckles and licked her lips as Koza stood there unimpressed with his arms crossed.
Then if I win, I'll be your chief.
To which Koza replied, I've been a top dog around here for a long time. Let's see. At that age? Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. It would be, yeah, because he's going through the year. Yeah. I've been a top dog around here for a long time. I'm not gonna let a cocky little peepsqueak beat me. And Vivi charged at him and pushed down his hat. He slapped his hand on her head. The crowd roared as the two started pulling their cheeks, and the crowd roared even more as punches were thrown. She took a fist to the face, and then she delivered a fist to his teeth. The crowd cheered on, and then it ended. The two of them smiling. Everybody listen up. As of today, Vivi is the second command of the Sen Band. He smiled along with her. Anybody got a problem with that? And the crowd screamed out, no! and hiding behind a bunch of rocks was the king and Igaram. You see, Igaram, Vivi has made some new friends. Yes. This will be the most important thing when she one day leads Alabasta. I get you. They both smiled gleefully. Hey, it's the king! It's his majesty! And Igaram, the captain of the royal guard! Everyone screamed out as the two of them freaked out and, and ducked under. Well, a few days later, the princess ran across the desert sand and arrived at a garden. There she saw Toto and smiled at him.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Toto. Where's the chief?
Good morning, princess. Good morning, princess. Koza is, you know well. Let's see here.
Viva, will you stay for lunch?
Mr. Toto said.
Yes, thank you.
What a strange kingdom. A princess coming and going in the home of peasants.
It shows that the kingdom is at peace.
Captain Ingham, will you eat lunch with us as well? Toto noticed Igaram holding a stick with bushes connected to it, as if he was hiding behind, as if he was successfully hiding in stealth. Oh, no, thank you. I brought some rice balls. Please excuse me. he started shuffling along with the king, with the king also doing the same thing but with palm trees. Shuffling about along the sand as Toto realized it was him. Your Majesty, what are you doing here? And Igaram looked back in shock. Huh? Well, you followed her too, Your Majesty? Well, I get worried. Go home. You're making more work for me. What? You heard me. And as the doting dads are all arguing with each other, Vivi came across a pair of bandits. There we go. Hey, girlie, you want some company? And suddenly. And suddenly there was a loud scream. Somebody, oh gosh. Somebody talk. Somebody talk. Suddenly all the children rallied around and started throwing the stones and desert at them. What? These guys aren't dead yet. The crowd screamed, and Vivi in shock said, "You guys, run, Vivi, they're after you." Koza screamed out. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, chapter 164. I love my country. As the flashback continued, all the children with paddles and sticks, stones and sand pounced on the two men who were attempting to kidnap Vivi. Koza's, one of the kids screamed out, "Run, Vivi, hurry! You're in danger!"
But, Chief!
As he was biting on the head of the bandit. The bandit screamed out, "We're not gonna kill her. We're just gonna hold her for ransom." Now get her, Princess Vivi. He knocked all the boys off and reached out for her with a big demented smile on his face. And all the boys rallied around with their weapons and screamed out, "You can't have her! Protect her with her lives, Sandbound Man." "Yes, sir!" they screamed out as Vivi watched in horror as one of the bandits got around them and quickly clutched her shoulders. What a laugh. "What? There's more of them!" It was indeed more of them. It was a third one, and she was able to break free and started running. Wah! "Blast! She's got it away! She's headed for the ruins, get her! Don't let them pass! Yes! Don't let them... Don't let them pass! Yes, sir!" And that's when Igaram saw what happened. "What the... What's all this? What happened here?" he screamed out as all the boys laid out on the floor, injured and busted up, bloody noses and so on. And one of the bruised boys lifted his head up.
"Some bad man tried to kidnap Vivi. They had swords. They ran towards the ruins. Koza went after them."
And they watched on. They started searching around. "She's somewhere in here. Find her. Don't let her get away." Oh, sorry. The bandits were struggling to find her. "She's somewhere in here. Don't let her run away." And she hid behind one of the broken walls, and she noticed one of them popping up from around the corner. But the demented one popped up. "There you are. Come on, be a little good girl. Let me kidnap you."
"Oh!"
And that's when she heard someone scream out, "Hold it!" And it was a loud whack of a wooden club, and the bandit fell over down the wall.
"Chief!"
"Never underestimate the sand band, you lousy kidnappers.
"What happened to your voice?"
I got older all of a sudden. Do you not see the stick representing my manhood? Now get out of here and go." And suddenly the bandit got up onto his knees and presented a sharp sword. "Just hand over the princess. You shouldn't make grown-ups mad, kid."
"Sword, Koza, let's run."
"I'm not scared of that thing."
"Huh?"
And Koza, with the standing his ground, gritted his teeth, locked eyes with the assailant. "Huff, huff. Ever been cut, kid? I could put a bigger smile on your face." And that's when Vivi remembered what he said. "Protect her with your lives, Sandman."
"Koza, stop!"
It hurts. It will really hurt, boy." And suddenly, he lunged at Koza. Koza waited very patiently as Vivi screamed out. Koza shifted his face to the side and took the blade to his face. Ugh. The bandit was shocked at what the boy did, and suddenly he was met with a club to the face. And the guy screamed, "Wah!" His sword flew up into the air as he slowly fell to the ground, and Koza uh, was taking long, deep breaths as the sword jabbed the desert sand, and blood splurted out of his injury. Ugh.
Koza!
And she looked back. The other two bandits were looking at their partner. You don't get him, brother. Let's get these brats.
Oh!
Come here. The third brother said, only to get punched in the face by Igaram and the king. Scoundrels. God. It was a squared kick to the face and a perfect punch from on the other, and they both fell to the ground.
Father, Igaram!
Princess Vivi, are you all hurt? Igaram said as he approached them, and the king continued stomping on the bandits. How dare you attack my daughter, you rogues! And as all three of them laid on the ground, Igaram asked, "Are they with that gang too?" Chaka, Pell, what are you doing here? Oh, Chaka and Pell. Chaka Khan. Not sure who they are and which one is which, but I'll give. That's fine. Let's see here. Italian Aussie? Yeah, we'll go with Italian Aussie. Well, what are you doing here, Your Majesty? The skinny one said. Wait a second. Chaka and Pell. Well, just for now. What are you doing here, Your Majesty? Crikey, why aren't you back at your palace? It's dangerous here.
Igaram, Koza!
I know, Igaram said as he approached the kids. We have to get him to a doctor immediately. Two shadows looking out at the skinny one and a taller one. Oh, could it be them? Oh man. Could it be Mr. 2 and Mr. 1? Should I wait out? It looks like them from their silhouettes. We don't know their real identities yet. Should I call it? What are you doing here, Your Majesty? The skinny one said. Want you back at your palace. It's dangerous out here. The other one said. I'll take a chance. They're only going by numbers. Alright. Vivi looked back at Igaram as he approached the children.
Igaram, so calls us.
I know. We have to get him to a doctor immediately. And the other injured members of the Santan band too. Chaka, pal, make arrangements right away. Yeah, sir. These children are very brave. He smiled. Igaram smiled. And later in the day, the king asked, "What's wrong, Vivi? Why are you so quiet?"
I was scared,
she said as she buried her face in her knees on the seat as all the kids sat on the bed watching on. Let's see. Koza waved his hand off. Of course, well, I was scared too. Those guys had swords. I've never seen anything like it.
That's not it,
Phoebe said.
I was scared because you told the others to protect me with their lives.
Protect her with their lives. Protect her with your lives, San Man. And he went quiet, remembering what as he watched her tears fall down her face.
I don't want you guys to die for me, Chief.
And Igram smiled, thinking she was worried about her friends. The king smiled. Koza was shocked, and Toto had a big smile on his face. The king started walking away very quietly, leaving the children and Toto behind. Phoebe is a princess and my daughter. Your brave deeds shall not be forgotten. You have my gratitude. To which Koza replied, Phoebe's my friend. I'd never let anybody hurt her. I see, the king replied as he exited out of the infirmary. With such friends to support her, the future of Alabasta looks promising indeed. He looked back at Koza with a smile on his face. Do you love this kingdom? Of course, this is my kingdom, Koza replied with a smile as he continued nursing his injured eye. Me too, he smiled back with glee. The king smiled back with glee. And as the setting sun cast upon the entire castle grounds, the king walked Igaram and Kato back to the chambers. Something troubles me. Rada, a ruler must sometimes make unpleasant decisions. I wonder if Princess Phoebe's heart is too soft. Igaram, yes, your majesty. That is good. It's good for Alabasta. He smiled, and Igaram smiled too as they looked out at the setting sun, making his way down into the horizon. I shall serve you to my final breath.
Yuba?
She said. She asked as the young boy threw his arms out and smiled. Yes, your father spoke to mine. Your father spoke to mine.
He did?
Right now, it's an uninhabited oasis. Your father asked my father to build a city there. A lot of travelers and traders pass through that place. It's the crossroads of Alabasta's western desert. A city there would help a lot of people. Isn't that great? And my father will be representing all of them. He smiled with fists clenched in joy as the scar across down his forehead and past his left eye became fully healed.
Will you be going too, Chief?
Of course. Well, my father wants me to stay here. I know it won't be easy to build a whole city, but I'm ready to work. I want to do my part. This kingdom needs Yuba. He smiled. He jumped for joy. Days later, the king and Toto shook hands. I am counting on you, Toto. Yes, my king. Yes, my king. I will be a magnificent I will build a magnificent city for you. We won't be seeing you for a while, Vivi, but I hope you'll visit us when the city is settled.
I will, Toto.
And and Zora raised up his fist with joy. We're gonna build a great city. We'll make this kingdom even richer than it is now, and no one will refuse our offer anymore. I'll make sure they have an offer they will never refuse. And he waved goodbye with a big smile on his face. See you, Vivi. You must become a great princess.
I will.
She smiled with a wave as her father patted her head. And and Toto punched Koza upside the head. Uh, don't be Koza, don't be so insolent. Oh, father.
You're right, Koza. Someday Yuba will enrich the kingdom.
So, days and days have gone. Years have passed, and the desert city of Yuba was without water. Was without water. So it hasn't ran for 3 years. What of it? Koba said. I I have faith in our king, and so do most of his subjects. Oh, wow, that was a weird transition. Yeah, that was a weird transition, but we're fine. So many times, Toto said. I stopped them so many times, but it was hopeless. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't talk them out of its rebellion. But they're almost exhausted now as well. Toto continued shedding tears as he struggled to wipe them out. The next battle will decide everything. They've been driven into a quarter. Princess, they're ready to die. Phoebe became very concerned. Please, Princess, stop these fools. And as later that evening, at Kotor, what a hard to pronounce name, Katoria Oasis near Nanahana, the current headquarters of the rebel forces. The town was very quiet as people were resting, and the only ones in activity were the rebels. Got any weapons? No, not many. Where's the boss? He's inside.
What's wrong? Why are you lying there in the dark?
One of the rebels said. This kingdom has gone to the dogs. Koza, leader of the rebels, lay chill with it, resting his head on his hands and leaning on the soft sack of supplies. That's pretty cool. He's got shades on. To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda, Chapter 165, Operation Utopia. The flashback gets got to do one last say as a young Toto smiled at a very young Phoebe. We won't be seeing you for a while, Vivi, but I hope you'll visit us when the city is settled.
I will, Toto.
Kid Vivi said with a smile on her face, and the town was nothing but shambles, waterless, devoid of all plant life. The palm trees barely brimming with life. Toto on his knees continued to cry as he was presented a handkerchief by the princess.
Get out, Toto. Please don't worry.
Really? He lifted his head up.
I'm going to stop the rebellion.
She smiled. She smiled as Luffy was like, "Huh?" And now he's like, "Huh?" And Sanji was like, "Duh." As every single one of them, except for Usopp, who laid out dead for some reason, listened Don and and Toto said, "Thank you." So the whole day went by, and Usopp was waving to everyone. Well, it's been a long day. Let's go to bed and build up our strength for tomorrow. Good night. And he immediately drops down back to the ground and falls asleep. Snore! To which Solo threw a rock at him in the head and screamed out, "You've been sleeping all day." Whoa! Then he threw the rock right back at Solo. "That's not fair. I collapsed from exhaustion. I'm only human. I'm not a monster like you." That does it. He threw the sack at Solos threw the sack at Usopp, and Usopp deflected it, only to hit. Yeah, oh my gosh, this is getting ridiculous. He threw Usopp threw a sack right at Chopper. Besides, you get the prize for feigning blue nose. What is going on here all of a sudden? Because Chopper threw because Chopper screams out, "I'm adapted to the cold," and what the heck are they doing? Jeez, they're just throwing the sack around. Every single one of them. Princess Phoebe tells him, "Sanji, that's my. Oh, I don't think you want to sleep alone tonight," he said as he laid on the bed, and he gets hit in the head with a sack. "Why are you trying to pull?" Usopp screamed out. "Hold through that pillow, you've got a lot of guts. Don't you guys know the meaning of rest? Let's fight!" And the sack struck Phoebe in the forehead, leaving her with a little bruise. And as she nursed the wound, she smiled at everybody. In the most random, out of place, typical One Piece fashion. Meanwhile, out in the middle of the city, Toto continued on shoveling the desert as Luffy crouched sat right next to him and had a nice little begin their conversation. "Hey, old dude, where's the water? My throat's parched. How can you live out here? It's rough." "Sure, there's water. Yuba Oasis is still alive. You will never surrender to the Suns. I'll dig for as long as it takes. The king himself entrusted this place to me." He continued on digging as Luffy listened on and went, "I see, dude. Alright, let's dig." And he began scooping up sand wildly. "Hey, stop. You're throwing sand into the hole I just dug, huh, dude? What is this, sabotage? I'm helping you, dude." "No, you're not. You're hiding under all the work I've done. What kind of help is that?" That's an interesting question, dude. How philosophical." "No, it's not." And he smiled as he saw the hole, as he saw this deep hole going further and further down than before, and Luffy was sleeping from exhaustion. Toto smiled and helped him back over to one of the buildings where he slept with the rest of, where he was able to place him with the rest of his crew to sleep for the night. "Hronk, dude." Luffy snored, "Hronk." The next day, the meeting is almost underway. Mr. Tues screamed out, "This ain't no joke. How long must we wait? They could at least bring out some octopus." He started dancing around as the rest of the team sat around with arms crossed, frustrated. Miss Merry Christmas bashing her hands on the table. "I'm going to spin, and when I spin, I look like a swan."
Calm down, Mr. Two Bond Clay.
Miss Miss Doublefinger said. Okay, and Miss Merry Christmas concurred, screamed out, "Quiet, you fools! Your jabber makes me hurt."
You too, Miss Merry Christmas. Be quiet.
Mr. Force said. And Miss All Sunday arrived, cowboy hat and all, as she watched the entire team freak out.
I guess it wasn't much. This was too much to expect you all to get along. Not that you need to.
Miss All Sunday, Miss Merry Christmas said as everyone stopped. Oh, Miss Sunday, how do you do? To which Miss Sunday replied,
Shut up, you fool. I know it was a long trip, but I'm glad you all made it out here. It's wonderful to see your faces again.
And where are we? Mr. One said, Miss All Sunday.
Once you brought you here by the roads, I see. But you all heard of the place? People come here to get rich quick in the gambling cables. This is the Rand base, the city of dreams.
They all looked. They all sat down with their arms crossed and looked in her direction, along as the candles continued flickering on the candelabra of the fine table they were sitting on, with its tablecloth and throne-like seatings, and the painting of a giant crocodile embracing their presence. Miss On Sunday continued.
And this building we're in right now towers over the center of Rambas. It's the city's biggest casino.
She said as the whole city was bustling with people and Abraham Lincolns, passerbys and scoundrels. It was a gigantic pyramid of black and white stripe, and the head of a crocodile with a banana on its head. The sign said casino on it, with swords shot out from both ends, and palm trees brushing side, nicely healthy palm trees lining up the sidewalk towards the entrance. It was Rain Dinner's Casino.
It's the biggest casino, and you're in Rain Dinner's right now,
she said. inside the dining hall of Rain Dinner's. She placed Miss All Sunday placed her hand on the table and looked at the whole group.
Now, if there are no more questions, we'll get down to business.
Please don't, Miss Merry Christmas said. Just start, get going, start, and you will address me as Betty.
No, I will not. But first, allow me to introduce someone whose face you've never seen before. The president of Baroque Rocks.
Mr. One growled as the wind flickered the flames of the candles on the candelabra.
Until now, I've acted as his face and mouthpiece, but that's no longer necessary. Time has come.
Everyone looked at the head of the table, unaware that there was someone there, to the sound of Operation Utopia, Mr. Zero said as he turned the seat around and revealed himself to everybody with his long hook and the brush of wind flapping the candle flames to the side. This is Barocrax ultimate plan, and everybody was horrified as they was horrified basically. And Mr. One screamed out, Sir Crocodile.
Ah, I see you recognize him.
Miss All Sunday said.
Where's public face at least?
That's some VIP who just showed up.
Recognize him? He's a pirate. One of the 7 warlords of the sea.
Don't tell me we're henchmen for a pirate. Mr. Four said. So you're our boss, huh? Mr. One said. You're disappointed, all of you. He let out a veiled shadow of pure evil out of his eyes, and everybody immediately crossed their arms and leaned back on their seats.
Not disappointed, just confused.
Miss Doublefinger said.
Why would one of the pirate allies of the world government create an organization like this?
I'm not interested in money or status. I want the military might. He said. Military might, you say? Mr. One replied. Yeah. And that's to that revealed to my children and the ultimate goal about orc works. And moments later, the wind went ooh over the casino, and Mr. Zero put out his cigar. Such a thing actually exists in this kingdom, Mr. Tues said, and we're going to take it away, kingdom and all? He smiled gleefully. This is so exciting. So this is what we've been working toward all along, huh? Mr. One said, as he nodded. Correct. The crocodile said. Since the very beginning of Orc, everything we've done was in preparation for this. Those are my final instructions to all of you. And he smiled. The time has come for Alabaster to disappear. And everybody read their instructions that written on paper. Then all of them together held it over the flames and let it burn completely. And yet, individual missions have been carried out, he said, as each note disappeared into smoke. The kingdom of Alabasta to self-destruct. Now, with nowhere to go, the rebels and the citizens will inevitably fall under the control of Orc. In a single night, the kingdom will become our utopia. Ooh, the wind said. This is Orc's ultimate plan. Operation Utopia. Failure is not an option. We begin at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And everyone screamed out, right! I pray for your success. He smiled as he took a long puff out of his cigar. Meanwhile, back at Yuba, Mr. Toto pleaded with the princess. Phoebe, please forgive me for this disgraceful sight.
Don't apologize. We'll be going now, Toto.
Here, take this with you, Luffy. Wow, dude, it's water. Water?
You hit water?
Just after you fell asleep digging last night, I hit damp sand. He smiled. I was able to extract some water from it. I don't know what that means, dude, but thanks. I'll drink it real slow. It's genuine water. I'm sorry there isn't more. And with smiles, Vivi waved goodbye, and Toto waved in return. And as they journeyed on through the desert to heading back to Nanohana, Luffy immediately sat down next to a tree and caught everyone's attention. Huh?
Ruffy, what are you... Luffy?
Oh, that was bad. My throat just went a whole different direction there. Hold on. The princess screamed out,
Luffy, what are you doing?
Huh? Dude.
What's wrong, Luffy?
Solo listened on. Dude, I quit.
Huh?
To be continued. One Piece by Eiichiro Oda. Well, that was actually a great setup. We got the whole entire backstory. We got the stakes. It's really good. The art was pretty standard fare. Oda, nothing significant, nothing big. This was again, this is all just building up to what's going to be quite possibly a very, very long arc and a very long fight. So basically we were primarily in how you say, back flashbacks. So we got to meet a whole new creature that is so cool called Kung Fu Jugons. Very cute little creatures. Luffy didn't hesitate to beat the leader up, and because of that, he now became the apprentice. The master's like, I will take you in, my student. So cute. I hope they come back. I hope they come back. Since they're going back to the ship, technically speaking, because they have to go back to Nanahana. I hope we get to see these guys again, and they actually board it and join them. That'll be so cool. A whole army of them. I would love to see that. It's got to circle back, completely. But we spent most of the time in Yuba, and we found out that we found out. Well, not on Yuba. First it was Alabarna, right? Sorry. Which town was this here? Oh yes, Aramalu. We were in Aramalu. It turns out that all these towns that was planned to help the kingdom's economy and everything, got messed up. Got messed up because there was this thing called green powder, which was designed to basically go up and provide rain, seed the clouds and provide rain. But there were some flaws to it. Let's see here. Let's get the rules up. The powder that summons rain, it's called dance powder. So let's see here. Let's see. What was the rules? Here we go. Yeah, the artificial rain stole the most moisture from even the smallest. It was the country's upwind suffered the dry curse. So the artificial rain stole the moisture even from the smallest clouds. So it steals the rain that would normally fall on surrounding lands. And so that's what ended up happening. Basically, it backfired. It had a bit of a backfire, but because of what it can do, and so it had to be banned by the world government. So that's a very important world build there, because this is basically what the whole what is causing what is contributing, not causing but contributing to the issue of the country at hand. It backfires and can steal moisture. So it was banned by the world government. By the world government. Which is both the production and use of the dance powder. But what ended up happening. What wound up happening is that for some weird reason, the palace had a huge quantity, and if I'm reading this correctly, the palace started having water, started getting the water, which was let's see here. Was it in this page here? Yeah, because it turned out that it was like a big setup. Apparently, there we go. Alabarna, the capital, which is the capital, where the king's palace. It got plenty of rain. So it made it seem like the king stole the water, basically, and left all the other places to dry out. And gosh, I can't pronounce this town. Emerala ended up suffering immensely because of that. Through no fault of the king. So it was through no fault of the king. It was just some kind of freak accident because the shippers, dropped the powder and messed everything up. But of course, it was all basically a setup by Crocodile. Like he made sure all of that that powder ended up with the king and everything, rather than where it's supposed to go as the king intended. And because of that, nobody believes that the king is just anymore, and started turning on Crocodile. Started turning on the king himself. We find out through the flashback. We find out through flashback that the king really was a kind and just man. He loved his subjects and he believed in his daughter. We got some desert antics, of course. We get introduced to another type of animal. I love when they do the animals, man. All called the evil herons. The evil herons. I gotta say, this was such a great opportunity to really expand on the wildlife in One Piece. You have the Jugons that learn kung fu, that teach kung fu. Then you have the evil herons that just troll you, like right down here at the bottom left. He's like giving that troll face, the perfect troll face there, while stealing all your items and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's great. This is something that I definitely should consider. I should consider with Trucker no Boken. Put some emphasis on the wildlife. Put a little bit more emphasis on the wildlife and show what they can do. Saying and how they act in the world and everything. Just a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like put a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just you know what I'm saying? Like just something of an observation. Since my main character Kenichi is from another world, kind of thing. And then we get to meet all sorts of wildlife. There's camels, giant, freaking the Sandora dragon. Like this was all about the wildlife, and it's really cool, so inventive, and yeah, he kept it nice and simple too. He didn't overcomplicate the designs. You know what I'm saying? He let the camel be a camel. The herons look like birds. It looked like a Gila monster or Komodo dragon. It's called a Sandora dragon. Probably play on the Komodo dragon. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. I like that he leaned into that as the theme for this particular chapter. Instead of having other pirates or bandits or anything fighting, they had to deal with the environment. And it's always cool when they do that. When he does that, I find it very fun. It really gives the world life, and it's very, very good, very good. Right, and good for storytelling. You want to show that this is a fully functional living world, and I like that. I like that. So they finally make it to. Of course, Luffy ate a cactus, so we know that there's food that can make you go crazy. But for the most part, in these chapters, it's just them trying to trek through the whole desert and dealing with the heat and randomness. But then they finally make it to Yuba, which was hit by a sandstorm. And this was all that was left of it, basically. It's still standing for the most part, as opposed to Emeralda, Emerald, Eramalu. Gosh, so difficult to pronounce. Eramalu. But it's getting more and more tragic when you start finding out more and more what's been going on. But we spend the next two chapters with the flashback, setting up everything. She meets an old friend, a friend of the king, a friend of the family, Toto, which turns out that he has a son named Koza. They were both kids. Her and Koza were both kids, and we get to see precisely how the king was or is actually, if he still is this way. We're not sure, but it's Vivi has no problem getting into fights, and of course Igaram and Toto freak out and everything, and King's like, come on, stop it. They're just children. They're just children. It's perfectly fine. Say he's not taking it, to such an extent. But Toto, of course, scared because it is the king and that's the princess. He's worried about beheading and getting beheaded. But the king's not going there like that. He knows the king knows, when a line is crossed that he will, do accordingly. But boy, does Toto take it to such extremes with the knife and everything. And then we get this cute little scene where these two end up fighting each other. And need I mind you that this is a very twisted and interesting kingdom, because they all know that's the princess, and they're all rooting for this fight. I need you to put that in perspective. You're fighting a princess, the crown princess. She's going to be the queen of this country, and you're fighting her. Well, God knows what could happen. God knows what could happen. It could end up with accidentally killing the princess, and then the kingdom is lost and everything. Oh, man. I mean, come on, Your Majesty. There's just some things you gotta, like, really taper, pull the reins in. It's okay to loosen the slack, so that the relationship between the kingdom and your daughter can be solidified. But you gotta pull the reins on a few things here, and this is one of them. You don't want her coming out crippled or blind or anything by accident. Makes the whole kingdom even more interesting. Oh man. But of course, they come across bandits, and we really get to see exactly how Igaram and the king fights. But most importantly, we really get to see how Koza feels for the princess. you know, he basically showing leadership in every way here. He says protect the princess at all costs. And very good art there with the crazy bandit. Really helps establish just how dangerous they are and all that. But yeah, showing how all these kids rallied around the princess to protect her and everything, and she was very shocked and couldn't believe what she was watching. But they like her, saying she had been very nice to them. She's been a good friend, and that's what they see. They see a good friend, but most importantly, they see a good princess that shouldn't be hurt and harmed in any way, and they're willing to protect and defend her. But ultimately we get Koza in his, delivering his most epic moment, which is very well shown here, where he stood his ground with the billy club and took a knife to the face. Very graphic, but it's pretty intense and pretty well executed. How it was done here, showing his face, you could really see him shivering. Saying even though over here on the top right it's saying hup hup hup, it's when they do the close up that you get the shiver lines here. So it's showing that he is very nervous and very scared, especially because the knife is coming right at him, and he's taking deep breaths. He's holding his ground. It's pretty cool. That was a pretty good, very well executed display, of fear, and courage. You know what I mean? Like being put on display all at the same time. Being put on display at the same time, and he delivered the blow. He knocked the guy out. Unfortunately, there was two more because they're brothers. The other brothers showed up. So yeah. Of course, that kind of stopped, because then again, like I said, the king knows when he's supposed to when the things are across and just stomping the living crap out of them. I'm very interested about these two guys up here. I think that's Mr. 1 and Mr. 2. From the way their silhouettes look, I think that's Mr. 1 and Mr. 2. So I'm hoping that I got it right when I did their voices. Pell and Chaka. That's their name, Pell and Chaka, with arms wide open. No way will get that reference. But yeah, I'm hoping that I got that I called in and did and did the right voices, because that would be very weird if Pell and Chaka shows up and are actually completely different people. It was a big guess. It was a big guess there. But yeah, this was and then we get to see Koza a little bit older here, which is pretty cool. Chilling out here. He's not happy with the kingdom, because he definitely wants to end it. And poor Toto, he's very scared. He wants nothing more than he wants to save the kingdom and everything, but not at the expense of his son and all the rebels. But the king, but yeah, we get to really see the king being truly kind here during this flashback, where he makes it very clear that Phoebe's heart is soft, but that's good. He felt that was a good thing for the kingdom, especially because everybody rallied around her. You know what I'm saying? So she still displayed some level of strength. And it was there that Yuba would be established as an important economic and trading center for all the neighboring towns, in the western desert, the western part of the desert. So, yeah, that was the main plan. That was the big plan, and Toto will be Toto and Koza would be the ones that would lead the way, as chartered by the king. But apparently that didn't turn out that way, because it turned out that Crocodile has a big plan, and a very, very nasty plan. Now, because as the crew now have to go back to Nanahana, Luffy helped out, of course, and was able to dig that well, and some water came out. Which was big news. But yeah, it turns out that Crocodile established a casino. Apparently, he established a casino. Now, keep in mind that being that he's one of the 7 warlords, he could do whatever he wants, so long as he don't cross swords. So long as he doesn't cross the navy, and the navy is willing to turn a blind eye, so long as the jobs get done. And apparently, Crocodile has a big plan, and it's a very interesting plan, indeed. I like the design of this casino. You know what I'm saying? It was reminding me of Las Vegas, because Las Vegas got that pyramid casino. I forgot the name of that casino. But yeah, that's a good inspiration. Make it a pyramid, and it's in the middle of the desert and everything. And he sure loves his crocodiles, because he's got crocodiles all over the place. Although I shouldn't be one to talk. I'm the one with frogs here. Oh man, but yeah, we get to see the cabal of Baroque works. I gotta say, that's a pretty nice, menacing image of Crocodile here, of Sir Crocodile. It's pretty cool. I like that, especially with his hook on the side there. Really good, intimidating presence. And he's got a smile. That's what's even more freakier. He's got a smile, unlike all the other pirates, who got scowling faces, glowering faces, angry faces. He just has this smile, but what I'm saying, and it's not, and it's like, and his eyebrows has this. It's like this demeanor that says you're safe with me, but that smile says I will kill you either way. And it's pretty frightening, especially seeing him like this, presenting himself like this. And yeah, everybody's rightfully shocked. It's like, oh, you're one of the 7 warlords. And what's even more interesting is what number 2 said. Don't tell me we're henchmen for a pirate. That means that none of these guys are pirates. They didn't. So clearly they're not pirates. They're not pirates, but they didn't expect to be working for a pirate, and that really shocked them. But what's more shocking is when he makes that little face again. His voice is booming. He's got a booming voice, but he still keeps that face, that calm face, and it results in them doing this right there on the top right panel. They just immediately crossed their arms and stood at attention practically. So, despite whatever powers they have, whatever gum powers they have and everything, Crocodile's got them wound up perfectly in his finger. And whatever this plan is very simple, and that is to destroy the Alabaster and replace it with his own world, his own utopian world, as his vision. That's actually That's a pretty crazy plan when you see how it was all executed and how he set the whole thing up. That's pretty diabolical. That's pretty impressive. It shows that he's very intelligent to be able to pull that off. He got the citizenry to turn on the king by stealing the dance powder that makes the water they needed, to make the rain they needed to be able to survive out in the deserts. It's crazy. It's crazy. But not as crazy as what happened at the end, because let me tell you something, man. Luffy's is having one of his tangents again. He's just laying back and saying, "I quit." And I'm wondering, it could be one of two things. Either something went down. You know what I'm saying? When he was with Toto and his experience helping Toto and seeing, the totality of the situation, he's like, maybe it's just now too big for him, and he probably wants to just get back to the sea, which would be pretty selfish of him, for the most part. Or Or it could be Miss Golden Week at it again. Because I could see that face. I recognize that face. If you see the panel on the left, where he sits at, where he's saying, I've seen that face before. And that was back at the Island of Dinosaurs. When Miss Golden Week freaking slapped the paint on his back, and he was just like, I don't care. And he's back to that again. Miss Golden Week is somewhere out there. I have a feeling that she's somewhere out there. She got it on him, and it's oh man, I hope that's Miss Golden Week, because if it's something else, there better be a dang good reason for Luffy to be doing that. There better be a dang good reason for him not wanting to help, because that would be very disappointing if he's doing that again. But it wouldn't surprise me if if he crossed paths with Miss Golden Week. And keep in mind that he's still wearing his clothes underneath the desert garb, the desert garb. So she could have easily slapped that on him at some point, like back at Nanohana, back at the town that they came from. So we'll have to see. Yeah. Another good set of chapters. Very good set of chapters. Nice world building, nice environment building, nice nature building. Very good nature building. You know what I'm saying? Another good flashback for our intrepid characters, our intrepid heroes. And we finally get the master plan. And we're going to get to see that executed. That's going to be epic. Comment, like, subscribe, follow. You know you want to. And head on over to Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Grab yourself a copy of Nate Positive Man, a strange fantasy novel written by me. You'll find links to the book in the description down below, along with links to other works, to other products such as pins, stickers, needles, pins, music, stickers, t-shirts. There you go. Enjoy the products. Thank you for your patronage. And if you're interested, you can join me on my live multi-stream on Twitch and Kick every Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to hanging out with you. So, until the next set of chapters, thank you all for joining me, and I wish you all a good night. Buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai.